Aloha everyone, welcome back to Isle Blessings. Hello. Yes, you're not crazy. I am definitely sounding like I'm talking down a tunnel. The unfortunate part is that I have a new camera. As much as it sorta is working out, the mic is not picking up my audio very much, so I'm trying a headphone instead, and this is as good as it's gonna get for now. So yay! Mercury retro right now. Anyway, enough about me. So as you can see right over here, we're going to be looking at the dark side of your tower. This is the part 2 of the tower series that I have been talking about. First one was about the light one. Now we're going to be looking at what makes your dark. So it can either be your past, it could be your shadow of your tower, it can be both positive or negative, but I'm starting to feel like it's going to be more on the slightly upsetting, if not negative side. So trigger warning if you're a slightly faint of heart. So here for pile number 1, we have a green tower. This is more than likely a mica green labradorite. You can have a look-see a little bit on the closer side. And then over here we have an actual purple labradorite tower. And then we have a shungite tower for pile 3. Then we also have, I'm pretty sure this is a moss agate tower. So let yourselves take a moment to breathe in, tap that third eye if you need some awakening, and I will see you in your reading. Hello, hello, pile 1. So you have chosen this dark green lepidolite tower. And as you can see, I have actually made the camera a lot darker rather than the blinding brightness at the intro. So makes things look a lot easier to see. So your first card for your dark tower is Suchlaf or Suchlaf. Not too terribly sure how to say his name. So this is the Angel of Verdancy. So already we are having some root, some greenery vibes. And then we also have Aestabus. Aestabus, Angel of Divination. So we have Earth and Sky. Doesn't feel like the shadow of your tower is on the earthly planes, I want to say. More the fantastical. So we can see over here for Suchlaf, he has this light over here, and he has all these animals, so it's quite possible that you're not connected with the humans. You're more so off into nature, off into the great beyond, more so animals. So that it is, as much as ritual as it is, it does lack the human part of your experience, whether in the past or here and now, and maybe in the future, sort of like a nomad off on your own, which is totally fine because, animals over humans. I can completely understand that. We also have this one over here, even more symbolizes the nomad, maybe perhaps the shaman out in the nature, very introspective, very much gaining knowledge within themselves, from the universe, but definitely within their own realm. Angel of divination, so it's quite possible in your darkness. It is not a negative darkness. This is more so that within your shadows that you definitely have the answers that you could possibly need and what the world could possibly need. Whether or not you want to share that, though, as you can tell by this stance, that is completely up to you. And yes, it is completely up to you. So we will continue to look at what energies you exhibit more when you are in your dark phase, your shadow phase. Again, shadows and darkness doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or evil or negative. Just like nighttime, we need to sleep. Or daytime, it's time to be up and about. That doesn't exactly mean that either is evil or good. So let's look at your energies of what you exhibit more when you are in your tower of darkness or shadow. So we have Libra. We have a lot of fairness in play. Definitely want to keep that balance. Fairness, this one, it's kind of evenly distributed between people around you or those who are in your inner circle, as well as within yourself. within yourself is definitely way more important than it is for the outside world. So definitely a good balance in there. We also have a 7, which is a connection to the divine possibility, as you can see right over here. And then what else for pile 1 do they exhibit? This one. We also have Venus. So Venus represents again, the sensualities, the earth, not the earthliness, just like plants, the animals, the flora and the fauna, just out in nature, a lot of music, a lot of sensuality. Not so much as that, like physical pleasures or something. That's not what it's represented right over here. It's definitely more of the nature vibe, definitely more of animals, not of humans. You'd rather be out there, perhaps, than, or maybe in nature, rather than, say, like the city or socializing for that matter. So, what other makes up your mid, your shoulders, what keeps your head grounded, or what possibly turns your shadow crown or shadow tower? This one. So we have Ace of Grails. So definite Ace of Grails. So it's like Ace of Cups. Definitely, as you can see, more green. It's a number 1. This one is a 16, and 1 plus 6 equals 7. So 1 is an individual, 6 is more of a loving number, and then it goes to a 7. So we have the 1 Ace of Grails. So definitely the cup is kind of definitely more internally filled by you. Like you can fulfill your own cup, you can fulfill your own feelings, definitely more yourself. I had a card drop, sorry. So I'm guessing it's going to be this one that's next. So you will always keep your cup mostly filled. You don't let anybody else fill it for you, because girl, guy, king, queen, you're more than capable of filling your own cup. So we also have the 3 of Knives. So this could also associate with, of course, why you're so introspective, so much into yourself, seek your own answers, because it seems like for the 3 of Knives, it's like a 3 of Swords. It speaks of the heartbreak traditionally. So it's quite possible that somebody's hurt you, somebody's ghosted you. It didn't end very well, but nobody was giving you answers, or the actual person or the perpetrator who was responsible for this right here didn't give you a very good answer, or they just went poof, they just poofed. So this is more than likely why you don't turn to anybody in general, why you don't seek anyone's counsel except in yourself, because you've suffered this heartbreak as much as you wanted that closure, as much as you wanted that, the fairness. It's only fair. You deserve to have an answer. But they just said, there's just like, nah, or just absolute silence. So 3, communication, definitely a breakdown of communication has hurt you quite deeply, as you can see right over here. The crow symbolizes also messages, but if anything, it just sounds a lot of negativity. So it's quite possible that your usual circle that you associate with just spoke a lot of negative thoughts, and of course that just does not help your heartbreak over here. So this also turns your head, and it also drives your dark tower. Ooh! So we will also get what the top or the crown of your, excuse me, relax. We will also get the top of your, I am not the best when it comes to shuffling. If you haven't seen my other videos, it's quite bad. I'm glad I don't have the camera on me. So we will see what makes up the top crown of your tower. So this could be leading to that finite point, what manifests in reality, what could possibly drive that shadow to point in a specific direction. or the beginning or the end of your Tower of Shadow. So this one and this one. Okay. So we have the void. We have the void. Can't quite see it. This camera. So this void again speaks to everything over here. The void is, not quite literally screaming into the void, but in this case, when you're coming back to this right over here, that also helps drive everything else, or here drives, everything into a circle. Definitely the void. You can seek solace in the void. You can be the void. Sometimes you want to just disappear into the void. And honestly, I think that's a gift. Perhaps it is a gift from above, or whichever you have believed in order to deal with this. And that's not a bad thing. That's completely fine. But do understand that the void is the void. It is neither good, but it's also neither bad. It is an emptiness. It is a stillness. It is a place, but it is also a place that that there is no growth. There is no light. It is static, and it's just empty sometimes. Not lonely, but nothing moves in that space. We also have soul work. It's kind of shiny, so it's kind of hard to see. So soul work, as you can see, and it throws back again to the shaman. So you definitely look within yourself, the introvert, definitely focusing on making your hive, feeling your wings, being in your space, enriching yourself. There's a diamond right over here. Definitely more muted colors over here, a little bit more on the pink side. So it's just trying to relearn how to be yourself. Ha ha ha, be yourself. So anyway, that's inappropriate. I'm sorry. So it's a lot of nature. It's a lot of honey. And there's also some forest in the back over here. So you would like to get lost in nature. You need to find yourself. There's plenty of flowers out there, but it's more of the knowledge that you seek in order to answer the questions, your own cup, your own balance, and your own shamanistic lifestyle to answer all your questions. This is definitely neither good or bad. Again, shadows, we always need shadows, and there will always be shadows within the light. Like, see right over here, there's a shadow that's being cast. The light is great and whatnot, but we also need this balance right over here. So the closer that you are to the light, the deeper the shadow can become. In which case, over here, it seems like you have a very good relationship with your shadow most of the time. There is also this Venus over here that also speaks to overindulgence. That can happen, and of course, like I said over here, animals over people. But you are also cutting out an essential part of your growth that you have also chosen, or unwillingly chosen, to not be a part of, to not grow. You may fill your own cup, but sometimes that cup gets empty, or that cup gets stale. That cup gets stale with the same old water, same old drink, or booze, alcohol, whatever it is that you drink. And then this over here, you may get all the answers within yourself, but there is only so much answers that you can get from within your soul. So that is honestly not the bad thing. Not at all. As an introvert, I completely understand. And also as an INTJ, our words, our thoughts are the most perfect things that we could ever see. But this does cut off oneself from a lot of experiences, a lot of times missing out on, being alive. As per some people, it's not exactly parties, or it's not exactly, going out there and just being seen in the club, being in relationships and whatnot, because this more feels like the mature side, very much mature, not really into young energy. It's not young energy. It's kind of like an old soul. Like you've already done that. That's not something that you look for. So definitely balance makes up a very good part of your core, and then of course this indulgence over here, a lot of green, void. So just be careful about that void, being lost in the void, screaming into the void. We've been screaming a lot into the void these past number of years, but it also led to a lot of soul work. But a lot of soul work can also be fairly detrimental. You may spend too much time focusing on oneself. So that pretty much will be your reading for your dark tower. What makes up your dark tower? And thank you so much for bearing with this. I'm trying to talk a little bit louder, just so we can hear each other better. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Take care. Okay, Aloha Pile 2. So if you have chosen this one, you have chosen the Lepidolite Tower or Lepidolite Tower, however you want to say it. I mean, honestly, both of them are correct. So we will put this over here. As you can tell, I have decreased the brightness in the camera because, man, I could not see a thing. So we will look at what makes up the base of your dark tower, your shadow of this dark tower. It could be both positive and negative, but you know, I made a trigger warning saying that this can be on the negative side. So just get that out of the way. So what makes a pile two? Okay, okay. So we first have Hazmid, Angel of Annihilation. Now don't get scared. This we will get to that in just a hot second. So Angel of Hazmid of Annihilation. And then we also have Duma, Angel of Dreams. Sorry about the picture quality. It's just daytime. It's a lot of light flowing around this room. So we have the Angel of Annihilation and the Angel of Dreams. So let me just pull this back up. So as you can see, it looks like a very foreboding picture. There seems to be a lot of annihilation, as hence the angel's purpose. However, the Angel of Annihilation can also mean lots of power, a lot of self, a lot of strength. Annihilation can mean, you know, it's like gardening or it's farming. You first have to annihilate a lot of weeds, a lot of the land, churn it up, you know, a lot of destruction in order to reset everything, to have creation. So it is a big part of your power base for your dark tower is that you have this power of cleansing, of clearing, of a lot of, like, say that if there's an argument going on, you have a way of putting a stop to that. It is this power that is passed down, that you have worked hard for. Almost a parental figure, so to speak. Not quite masculine or feminine. Anybody can have this sort of power if it is something that they seek or if it's something that they had to do. So there's that one. And then we also have Angel of Dreams. So this kind of plays into your previous card. So in order for a farmer or a worker or even a created, even for like a painting or something, you must dream of it first. You must have plans for it first. So as you can see here, there's a lot of water here. There's a lot of water play, a lot of not quite fantasy, but a lot of allowance for weightlessness, for dreaming. And you can see this angel is holding this wave and looking very thoughtful, just imagining the possibilities, not quite measuring the wave, but feeling its power, feeling what it could be. So Angel of Dreams, it can either be darkness, it can either be light, dreaming in light or dreaming in darkness. It all depends, it's all up to you. But it's just speaking to what it could possibly be. can be a nightmare, can be a sweet dream. So we will look at the energies of what you exhibit more when you are within your tower of darkness, your tower of shadow. So this is what you will exhibit more. So can we get 2 cards for pile 2? Okay, we'll just go with these then. So we have Scorpio. So it's a lot of water work coming into play, but also a lot of finality. So we have Scorpio right over here. As we all know with Scorpio, uh, it's they're very fast, they're very precise, they have power and intensity. You have power and intensity and finality, but also the possibilities. As you can see, this Scorpio is driving down a weapon deep into the earth, or exuding the Scorpio's power. And then there's also, of course, the stinger and claws to also keep hold, and many other legs to firmly keep in place. We also have the number 8 right over here. So again, if you flip it on its side, it is the infinity symbol. But the 8 also represents fortune, misfortune. And 8 in the numerology just means it's mainly a business number, but kind of money comes and money goes sort of thing. Definitely an even number. So there's, again, this duality right over here. You have a top and you have a bottom. And then you exude a lot of that intense energy. Not deadly. It could be. It very much well could be if you are on the negative side. We also have Capricorn. So more earthly energy. But for this one, it also, this Capricorn also has a tail, so it seems to be, again, a little bit more on the water side because it sort of looks like a mermaid tail, but there's also wings here, so it's sort of an embodiment of all 4 elements. And then you can see over here this fire, or this burning star behind it. Capricorns are also known not for their stubbornness, but their firm stance. They're very firm stance. You can't have a firm stance without having a very firm foundation. So that's what this speaks of right here. Very firm foundation and ready to defend, also observing, but you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, and it could be either, it can go either good or it can go badly. It all depends who exactly is invoking what and what you are being invoked to do. So, let's get some, what turns your head? What makes up the shoulders of your shadow tower? We got some dangerous energy. That's not danger like harmful, but it's like queen, king, general, even commander. Definitely sounds more like commander or general. So, what makes up your shoulders and your head? So 4 of Knives. So 4 of Knives is 4 of Swords, and traditionally. There is a balance here, so it's not like an uneven number where it's just flying everywhere. So 4 is definitely more like a balanced situation. She is in the graveyard, and she is holding the hands of a statue. She feels like she is safe from danger. So this speaks to more that what you could possibly turn into. But yet you're also looking over your shoulder to the other possible dangers. So this is something she's firmly holding on to, this angel, to reassure her, for foundation, for, just an indication that she's going in the right direction, or that she's away from danger, but also away from those who would oppose her, from those who would seek to harm her, as you can see. So there's a duality right over here, but also balance. And then we also have Libra. Can't quite see. So this knife over here, it kind of speaks to the Ace of Knives or the Ace of Swords, the idea. Ace also is a representative of the, the knives or the swords are representative of air. But we have a Libra sign over here, so another reinforcement of balance. This is definitely speaking more of the outer world rather than the inner world, because it seems like you have a very firm foundation of what you are inside. So this is your work towards the outside. Then we also have the Prince of Scepters. So the Prince of Scepters is just that next step after the Ten of Scepters or Ten of Wands. So this is past the wands can get pretty burdensome. It's a lot of firepower, but this one is definitely more of the adept side. So burning passion, but on the mature side, and then looking, constantly observing, and keeping that conviction, that idea very close to them, because they, again, very firm in what they believe, not quite stubborn, but depending on the situation, it can become overbearing. Because again, the Prince of Scepters or the Prince of Wands is just the next step above 10. Not exactly mature just yet, getting there, but it is still a young energy. Still a young energy, and it can become either destructive, or you might say something that you shouldn't have, and you literally put your foot in your mouth, and it's something that you can't take back. But because you have this strong energy right over here at your base, it's not like you're willing to back down. It's a little hard, especially if you were so strong in this belief and suddenly you were proven wrong. It kind of hurts your pride. Now, I'm not saying it kind of hurts your pride. Most of the time, it really does hurt your pride, as you can see right over here. So the Scorpion energy and the Capricorn energy, it's very, very hurtful. And then it become this annihilation. These dreams can turn into a nightmare. Like, you do have this power, and you can make the dreams become the nightmare very quickly. You just have that ability. So what makes up the tip top of your crown of your tower? What is the finite point, and what drives it to point in a specific direction? So we have this one, okay, so these. So we have, can I just have it? I just had it. We have the Revolutionary. So we have the Revolutionary, and it's kind of a throwback to the Ace of Scepters. But the Revolutionary, as you can see, it is on fire. So a lot of fire energy, a lot of power, a lot of intensity. We do have the Desert back here, and it's kind of a throwback to the Annihilator card, where you have to wipe the slate to become almost as bare as you possibly can. The Desert has all the materials that could possibly make for life. It's just, of course, missing water and a few other things. But there's a lot of wind here, a lot of wind power, a lot of sand dunes in the back that you can't quite tell, I want to say. And then there's this hand. This hand, not quite clawed, but definitely knows how to use this. Definitely knows how to use this power, wield this power, point this power, channel this power. And as the Revolutionary, it is usually someone who stands alone. Not quite a renegade, but it's definitely someone who starts the power, starts the fire, starts the building, could possibly start an argument. Might be the first one to want to start an argument. You could also go on that route. Again, like I said, trigger warning about negativity. So this also makes up your part of your dark tower. This is a tendency that you can have, whether it's people who feel that you start arguments, or sometimes you just want to start an argument because, who doesn't like a good debate, especially if you can win in that debate. I've had a few of for myself as an INTJ, I just gotta flex my intelligence sometimes. We also have shared wisdom. So the roots run deep. Roots run very deep. this is definitely knowledge that you have accumulated over time, which is why you are firm in your beliefs, very firm in your beliefs, as that makes up your base. It's because it comes from this. It comes from your ability and skills to accumulate all this information, to take it down, to take it deep, take it so, so deep that you cannot be moved. With deep roots and deep rocks, if you have ever seen, it's very hard to move. Like for bamboo, it's kind of easy to obliterate sometimes, but for very, very old trees, where the roots have even cracked the foundation, it's very hard to get rid of. But if you do try and crack and get rid of them, rid of this tree, it leaves a devastation. You see this devastation that is left behind by these powerful roots, but most people aren't allowed to, excuse me, hold on one moment. Pardon me, sorry, I had a phone call. So, as you can see, very much into their realm. What was I saying? Oh, right. When you try and uproot these trees, it's one, it's very hard. Two, you leave devastation behind. When you try and dig up entirely of the roots, you have to make an even bigger hole, or just, scrap the whole thing altogether, because you have penetrated so far. Your knowledge has penetrated so far, which is also why it could possibly hurt so bad if you are ever found wrong, because it feels like someone is uprooting what you know, is affronting what you firmly know and what you firmly believe. So what does that mean? It leaves a really huge sore. It starts to rear up that Scorpio energy. It starts to rear up that Capricorn energy, and you might lash out with that an angel of annihilation. So that is a really huge forewarning, or or you just live your life, because this feels like a deck that has a deck, excuse me, this a tower that has seen a lot, that has dealt with a lot, that has been through a lot, and your knowledge is not something to be taken lightly. So usually when people, question your ability, the horns come out, the horns, gloves come off, and wig gets whipped off. So wouldn't want to mess with your shadow when your tower turns into the shadow side. So anyway, pile 2, that is your reading. It's a very powerful, powerful reading, which is kind of an opposite of the Lepidolite. If you are ever curious, then try look up what Lepidolite means. It's a little polar opposite of this, but hey, this might also be an indication of your light tower. But anyway, here is your reading. I will leave you with that, and thank you so much for joining, and I will see you later. Take care. Aloha and hello. I just said hello, hello twice. Anyway, pile 3. If you have chosen pile 3, this is Shungite, your Shungite tower. Now, Shungite, this one in particular, is more on the elite side of the Shungite, but not quite elite. Maybe like 60% carbon. Anyway, so this will be your reading, and we're going to be looking at what makes up the shadow side of your tower. So let's look at what makes up your base of your shadow tower. Again, trigger warning. Things can turn awfully negative. Pile 2 was intense. So we will see what's in store for your shadow tower. So let's have a look, see what makes up your shadow tower. Okay, this one and this one. Okay, so your shadow tower, we have Uriel, Angel of Flame. Obviously not the traditional Uriel as we're used to, this is definitely a much different deck. But as you can see, there are many hands. There is this fire, as well as this basin, and just holding up hands to this fiery sky against this background with a lot of wind, a lot of bare branches. So definitely intense fire. And since the flame is pretty much making up this angel's head, you rely more on logicality, you rely more on your brain, the fires that burn within your head, and you have all these hands, you have this power, you have this possible devastation even, because you can even light up the sky with this power. So let's take a look at one more. So chesed, we have the right hand and empathy. So chesed, this is I've had this deck for a very long time, but I'm still not quite familiar with it. I don't usually pay attention to the books. The divining is quite interesting every single time I use these as a starseed, and also as an INTJ. I'm pretty sure you know that by now. So Chesed, right hand, and empathy. So it's not just hands. Eventually I'll look that up. But there are four hands right over here, and there are also four hands here. So it seems like you see this crossover right over here. It's kind of a throwback to the Two of Swords. So very much keeping close your heart, keeping enclosed your heart, and then also enrobing one's shoulders. There's little closed eyes right over here, but definitely being governed by faith, keeping closed the heart, walking through this desert underneath this blazing sun. So it seems like, and this is a very big heart, it seems like that there might have been quite a bit of heartache, a lot of not heartbreak, but a lot of aching to the point that you want to keep hold, or maybe it has a tendency to run away. So you indulge more in your logicality, but you also close down to make this possible. You also close down the very big heart of yours. You don't want this one to get hurt. And as you can see, it's really big. It's open. It's an open chest. So there's not a whole lot of protection. There's not a whole lot of covering. So you're using your hands, or veils, or words that, like, I'm okay, I'm fine, because I have to focus on business, or I have to focus on life. I can't just sit here and babysit my heart. I can't just sit here and babysit this thing that just runs away. Possibly an inner child even, because you feel like you have things that you need to get done. It's like you don't have enough hands. So this drives your base. This drives your base. So while you are in your shadow tower power, let's look at what kind of energies that you exude more while you are within your shadow. This one. Okay, these two. This one. And this. Can I have that, please? Can I have that, please? My hands, I swear. Okay, so yes, sir, yes, ma'am. We have Aries. So number one, Aries, just goes and does it. Just does it. Let's just make it simple. It just does it, because Aries, simple but effective. Gets it done. A lot of fire energy. Number one, a lot of the individualism, but there's also a lot of coming out within oneself. So very sure, very confident. Definitely more on the masculine side, I want to say. Yes, we are all made of feminine and masculine. I'm not saying you're a woman, and I'm also not saying you're a man. But when you are in your shadow tower, it can become either or. This seems more like when you're in your shadow tower, you are that fire. You are that yang. You are that intensity. You know and you do it. You know and you do it. You get it done. You don't have time to mess around. And we also have Jupiter, who also supports that as well. So Jupiter, this is a 1 and an 8. So we have the 1 as the individual, and an 8 as it's the business number. It is the infinity symbol. It is the rise and fall, and then the repeat over and over and over again. So you may have this down, but you know you have this loop up. And then vice versa. With Jupiter, big, bright, could have been a star, but we all can see Jupiter in the sky, so yeah, still sort of a star, since it reflects so much light from the sun. Jupiter, fortune, wisdom, teaching, confidence, great things all around, because when you get it done, when you go and get it and not really think about it, you seem to have like this luck that follows you. You're determined, very confident, again, more of a masculine yang energy, you're on fire. You know what it is that you want, you know what it is that you have to do, and you do it. But it can also be overpowering. It can get you into trouble. As great as Jupiter is, if you have too much fortune, eventually it will turn, if not, is a misfortune. So when one person takes, is very big, it's very attractive, they pull people in, like there's this gravity. They pull in items, but it's not always good or bad. So once you get closer to Jupiter, there's a lot of destruction that can happen. The gravity can become so strong that it crushes. So a lot of crushing, a lot of fire. You can even pull people into the fire, or you can pull ideas into the fire, and they may catch on fire or they may explode. Too much of one thing can be highly detrimental. Um, Jupiter is also luck. Luck does not always mean that it's a good thing, though. You can be lucky in misfortune, or you can be lucky in good things. There's always an up and a downside, as per the number 8 that's represented over here, and the infinity symbol. So it's the thing of happening over and over and over again that becomes a cycle. But where does that cycle end? So anyway, we're going to look at, that's the wrong deck. Anyways, we're going to be looking at what makes up your shoulders, the neck, what turns your tower's head to point in a specific direction, and what makes its final decision. This one and this one. So we have, I'm just going to have it upright side up. So we have the priestess. Arcane energy, archaic, not even archaic. Anyway, major arcana is what I'm trying to get. So very powerful. The priestess is still young. She's still learning, as you can see. She's learning from this book. It's a throwback to the Jupiter. So a little bit well read. The priestess is not the Hierophant, though. So very young, still studying, still has a long way to go, and she's also looking far away at the possibilities. So we can also look at this as a distraction. What's something that she should be reading in order to study to become that Hierophant? She is looking. The priestess also is an embodiment of ideas, of not only just receptivity, but also testing out. So she's probably even looking to even flex what she knows, per se. Perhaps you know a little bit about something, and then you might even feel empowered to share that knowledge, like you've studied that for years and years. That seems to be what's saying with the priestess right over here. Now, usually it is actually the high priestess, but for this deck in particular, it is the priestess. So we also have, she also has arrows. So she is always ready to, not quite ready to defend, but she's not about to back down from a good debate, or she's not about to back down from doing what needs to be done, shooting a target possibly. And we also have a candle right over here. We have a little bit more fire. We also have the moon in the background, as per possibilities, what could possibly be, what's out there, what can be done. So a lot of moon energy right over here. So there is definitely, thank goodness, a balance of masculine and femininity, but still definitely more on the masculine side. We also have the Queen of Knives. So the Queen of Knives is aka the Queen of Swords. As we know with the Queen of Swords, and she is definitely within her power. Swords is air signs, about that communication, about that logicality, about that knowledge. And of course we have the crow or the raven right over here, whispering to her of the messages, of the possibilities, or shadows, or even gossip. So she is listening to this crow or this raven and listening to things that are happening around. They may be true, they may not be true. She also holds a single sword or a knife, and she will make that decision whether or not to point it at someone, to sheathe it. But as you can tell, it's awfully bloody. So it has been used many a times. With the Queen of Knives, definitely within their knowledge, definitely within their power, because baby, she is a queen. She gets things done. She doesn't sit around. She don't wait for nothing. We also have. There's supposed to be one more thing in here. Yeah, very young. This queen in particular is young. But as per vampires, just because they look young, that doesn't mean that their years reflect that young mentality. So looks can be deceiving. Just saying. Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just have to say you can slay, slay, slay. So what makes up the crown or the finite point of your dark tower? There we go. We have power. We have the power card, definitely an ace. Throwback to the Ace of Wands, but also an Ace of Swords, possibly, because this power definitely is a crystal at the top. Sorry about the reflection. There is a crystal at the top, but definitely at a point, and it is radiating this light. So, double light. Sorry, there's another ring. So, within the mountains, so forged. Definitely of air, definitely of fire, definitely also of earth. Definitely also of earth. The staff is also a finite point. Can be a tree, it can be a planting, it could even be a seed into fertile ground. Definitely more yang energy, masculine energy. So it is something that you are very sure of. Very sure of that is your finite point. So haha, finite point. Not saying it's the foulest thing, but it could be. Because it has to penetrate. It is something that penetrates as per the tip of your finite point. And this decision is not made too lightly. Even though you get it done, you also have this knowledge that's driving behind it. You also have this idea, this logicality, and also a closed heart, because you can't have both. As much as people think that it's great, you cannot have both. Either you have this big heart and you show it, or you protect it, you close it down, and you channel all your energy into the logicality or that flame. Now we also have patience over here. So again, you don't make decisions lightly. It is based on knowledge. As you can see, there's a little bit of a root system going on over here. So, and some plants over here. So it's a lot of planning. It is also a lot of knowledge building. It's growing a little wild. So it seems like you can operate on minimum information and still make it work. Uh, they don't always work out though if you are not knowledgeable enough about something. So just as a precaution, just because this Aries energy does it as a number one. So step up from zero. It hasn't taken this. You haven't taken a whole lot of steps to achieve what it is that sets you off on this journey, this answer, this idea, this pursuit, this career or something. Um, but eventually, over time, it seems like you will accumulate that knowledge. It's just that when you first start out, it could possibly get you into trouble with very little knowledge, the little bit of knowledge, because you're constantly distracted. As you could tell, she was looking off in the distance, and then of course the crow or the raven over here whispering, more than likely gossip. So a lot of juicy things going on. And then you just go ahead with it and you just do it rather than wait to gather all that information. But you do trust yourself to know enough to do enough. Anyway, that is your reading, pile 3. And again, here's another look at your Shungite tower with a little bit of veining going on. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If not, that's completely okay. And that's crooked. And I will see you in your next reading. Thank you. Okay, pile 4. Hello. So if you have chosen this pile, or at least this stone, this is more than likely moss agate. Forest agate is actually what I'm getting more of. There's like this really big Cherusia pocket actually all the way around. Anyway, so this is your reading, and we again are looking at the shadow part of your Tower of Power. So again, this could either be positive or negative, because darkness can either be or not be good or bad. Oopsie daisies. Good or bad. So the first reading that we're going to do is looking at your base. Obviously, these cards have popped out for a reason. So our first one is going to be Tiferet. Let me get a little bit closer for Tiferet. So Tiferet, heart and beauty. So there's, obviously you can see this is very hollow in the middle. Many things can pass through, many things can be within, but they can also pass out and leave. So heart in, heart out, whether good, whether bad, come in to stay or leave. There's a lot of room and a lot of space and a lot of wistfulness, and there seems to be quite a bit of mist. So plenty of possibilities, or these can be gates, as you can see a little bit here in the middle. So anything is possible, or it's a constant hollowness that you could possibly be feeling. So with all this extra space, there might also be too much space. Like there's nothing that can fill that void. Like there's just so many pieces of it missing that it's like things will never be enough. One thing, two things. Red fish, blue fish. I don't know why I thought about that, but yeah, there it's very fractured. The core is very hollowed out, so there could be a dissonance between one's core, one's heart, one's spirit even. And we even have Angel of Vengeance here. So we have Simikiel. So I will probably have pictures of it later on my Instagram. If you guys want a better, if you folks want a better clarifying picture. So Sekimel, Angel of Vengeance. So as you can see, there's this very long sword, a very long hilt. So this angel has been through not only the paces, but deals out the paces. Very sure of themselves, but also a bringer of destruction, because vengeance is the act of like exacting it in action. And with this really long sword, there's a lot of power behind this. There's also a long guard, so there's plenty of room to either swing it slowly or swing it very fast. We also have feathers that are just spreading out from this wing and just falling away, and then onto this battlefield here at the bottom. And then, as you can see, it's also hollow right over here, because when one exacts vengeance or revenge, it gets pretty finite. Like that's all you can see. That's all you focus on. It's just one thing, a tunnel vision. That's the only portal that you see, and you are focused. You are focused on that point, and you will get to that point, and you will absolutely obliterate it if you have to. Most of the time, you do. You have this power. You have all this blood on you. Whether blood of your victims, blood of your conquerors, anything that you set your mind to. And of course, we have this finger that draws out the blood, or either paints off the blood or flicks the blood. So this Angel of Vengeance could also be a throwback as well to Tiferet, heart and beauty. So there's a certain hollowness within your tower of darkness, what makes up your base. So, oh, foundation. So we will be, one second. We will be looking at next, what energy do you exude more? What energy or what zodiac sign do you usually prefer or display or you slip into when you are in your tower of darkness? So pile 4, this one, and the next one. Can I have that? Thank you. Like I said in my other videos, if you have been watching, I am not exactly the best when it comes to shuffling. So we have Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, as you can see, a lot of the warrior, and a lot of the weapons. So it seems like you have a tendency to not only take care of things personally, that is like your first reaction. Your second reaction is to also be able to strike at a distance with accuracy, mind you. Sagittarius is further on down in the zodiac sign. So definitely, of course, the fire, much more honed, very well versed, has a lot of smarts, has a lot of wisdom, and also confidence. Not exactly a firecracker, it's more like a well-placed, smart bomb, I want to say. And then there's also the symbol of this big sun or this big fiery star in the background. Doesn't burn very hot, so it's a little bit more on the darker red side. If you want to consider more on the science side, the more reddish, orange-ish the flame is, the less heat, the less powerful, but it still will burn. So this is definitely more of an older feel. Not so much as starving for oxygen, but it is a slower burn. It's a slow burn, not a hot fire, hot white light that will just, exit out. It just completely burns itself out silly and quickly. This one is a very slow burn. The Sagittarius is, of course, represented here also as part of a horse. So you can come either fast or you can come very slow. But the fact is that you have a very lasting power, a very lasting impression. And vengeance, coming back to this one, vengeance lasts a long time. It is well thought, it is meditated, it is figured out. We also have Earth right over here. Oh, meant to say 9. We have a 9 over here. Numerology, 9 is one of the highest vibrations in the single digits. Not a master number, let's be clear about that. Master numbers are a little bit more balanced. 9, on the other hand, every time you multiply 9 plus 9, or any factor of 9, it will always come down to a 9. It is definitely one of the higher vibrations, but it can also be very unstable, if not very cutthroat. Just want to make that clear. So we also have Earth here, and we have a 2 and a 6, because thank goodness, I thought I would just be dealing with a lot of very warrior, not meathead kind of mentality. So thank goodness that that's not the case. So we have Earth here. It's definitely very grounding, very much also able to withdraw into themselves, to just have a rest, as you can see from, if you can see her. She's very much in a restful, almost peaceful state, down to earth and stable. A lot of browns. It's a derivative of orange, so there is still passion here, because Earth has the ability to grow things and also quiet things, or quiet the fire. Not put it out like water, but it can definitely help to shape and help to stabilize that flame. The 2 and the 6. So the 2 is a sense of balance with the mediator, and the 6 is also more of a loving, teaching, energy as well. So it seems to talk about more of the self rather than influenced by outside factors. So this one. So we're going to be looking at what turns your head, what is the neck of your tower, and we have. I'm just going to set everything right side up. We have the Eight of Skulls. Eight of Skulls is also the Eight of Pentacles. So we have, again, an 8 infinity sign. Everything has an up and everything has a down. We also have an hourglass right over here. We have an up and we have a down. And we have the measurement of time. And then we also have this blood in a cup. I was going to say wine. That's not quite right. And then we also have a book. And we also have it looks like the magician, or it looks like someone who is conjuring as he's holding the skull. And it is also, if I can see, Scorpio energy. There's a Scorpio sign on this skull. But as you can see from this imagery, very, very, very thoughtful, very thinking, very much into being well-read, practicing, crafting, but improving. So improving, well-worn. You have done this many times before. You have honed yourself. And then, of course, as the Eight of Skulls, of Pentacles, for that matter. So Pentacles is more earth energy, which is good. Again, it helps balance everything out. We also have the Star. So the Star, traditionally, it kind of means good luck on the surface area, but it definitely also is an Aquarius energy, usually water. The Aquarius still kind of is represented right over here with the blood being spilled from the cup. However, this is definitely more of an air sign, being well versed. So as the Star, this is a young maiden, but she is being taught by, well, young maiden as a vampire, because it's a vampire. There's a vampire tarot. She's being watched by this older lady. She's being coached by this older lady. So this could either be someone who has influenced you from the past, but more than likely this definitely feels like something that you have thoroughly focused on as a self. So this is more like your higher, more I want to say conniving side, more of the intricate side. More of the intricate side of yourself, guided by a single light, a single pathway, a single purpose. When you set your sights on that single purpose, you will study it, you will meditate on it, you will consider the possibilities, the consequences even, but you will get it done. I mean, once it happens, once your shadow is triggered, there is really no stopping what is about to come. So, what is your finite point? What is the crown that adorns your tower of shadow, or your tower of darkness? And again, I apologize if this does trigger some people, but like I said at the beginning, it could either go negative or it could be positive. And we are all made up of darkness and light. It just depends on how we choose to harness and govern ourselves in such times. And this one, so you want the middle. Okay, so we have, can I have it? Can I have it? I swear, sometimes when I'm trying to just take out two, they just like to stick to each other. We have the pillar. So we have another gateway, as we have right over here with beauty. I'm not going to take it out because it's just going to mess everything up. So we have pillar. Pillar, definitely hollow, as you can see in the middle. You can put many things into it, but it will never fill it. Things can go through it, or things can come within. This is a kind of a free space, but there's also this gateway. It's a stubborn gateway. It is something that will not crumble, but it will never be filled, and it will also never be hollow at the same time, because gates are meant to be passed through. It says pillar, but this definitely looks more like a gate. So we definitely have more of the hollowness that speaks here, but we also have branches reaching up over here as well as the vines. Now it takes time. Again, it takes time to create one pillar. It takes time to create this other pillar, and then up here, and all these intricacy, and then all these definitely look more like bushes and crystals. Now, with all those things, it speaks again back to how long. It speaks to time. It speaks to time. It speaks to applying your skills, applying your knowledge and making it work, making it a solid foundation, making it a solid foundation in yourselves. But for this one in particular, yeah, it definitely seems like it takes a lot to either fill it, or you're constantly feeling hollow, perhaps even constantly feeling hungered, and it's multiple hungers. It's not just one. Most people go through some days with being hungry for one thing or hungry for another. It seems like you have multiple things you are hungry for, since the space is so big. Whether it's career, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships, anything. So we also have strength right over here, and it's definitely more of that earth energy, definitely more of that grounding, definitely more of that firmness, definitely more of that confidence, and that, the powers that are resting within you. And we are looking at a lot of this root system, and then into what looks like a leaf. It's a very crystalline structure, and again, crystals take time to grow. Roots take time to burrow into the earth. So if somebody ever hurts you, it's like uprooting those roots, or trying to uproot those roots. Either they can't get to you because you are just so firm in yourself, or they hurt you so bad, your pride is hurt so deep, you will turn in, you will turn into your baser instincts, or your basic power, which is very, very destructive if people are not careful. And it's not because you do this willingly. Perhaps sometimes you do it willingly because, come on, we're all humans. Sometimes we get a kick out of it, whether it's video games or debating people online, as we've seen a lot of people do these days. And if you want to do it, that's all you. I've done my fair share of kind of trolling back then, and I'd rather just get on with my life and just be with my pets and whatnot. But hey, it's good exercise, especially when you're trying to do application, when you're trying to apply. Let me just take this out. When you're trying to apply your knowledge, and when you're learning. So it's not exactly that this is the wrong path for you. That all this is evil, or your pride is going to be your downfall or your sin. It could possibly be, but it is a learning process. That's what is represented here by the star right over here, which is your shoulders. This is your shoulder area, what turns your head. And then, of course, right over here, applying your knowledge, definitely in solitude. So a lot of please excuse my burping. I am so sorry. So a lot of knowledge here is in play. A lot of grounding firmness is in play. You are just constantly hungry, but your roots also run very deep. Very, very deep. Whew, very, very powerful energy. So I apologize again that I sound so much like I'm in a tunnel. I hope for the next video that I do, it's going to be a lot better. But thanks for hanging out with me. And here's one last look at your forest agate. She heavy. She is heavy. And then we also have a little bit of a druzy pocket here on the top. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you later. Take care.